All right. So the action items are to approve the May 14th, 2025 Executive Committee meeting summary. It's in the board packet. Are there any questions? Obviously, we don't have a quorum yet, so we can't approve it, but any comments or questions? I wasn't here, so anything you want to tell me? No? Obviously, Dean and I can't do that, or Kevin and I can't do that because we were not here. Angela, anything?
I mean, to be honest, I don't even have the page to reference. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I can get you a copy.
I need one as well.
Okay, fantastic.
Get a copy.
That would be helpful.
Yeah.
Since we're all
I'm trying to look it up.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, what happened?
Let's get copies.
We can come back to that in the meantime if you like.
Yeah. I was saying if I had an extra copy.
Yeah, can we have one here?
Oh, the minute? Here, Ross has some copy. You need a copy.
Okay, I know I have mine, but if I just wants a copy, okay, you have it. You remember the highlight?
I mean, it was purely, there were purely updates regarding those different topics. We didn't have any specific like business actions or formal presentations or anything like that.
Okay.
It was just report outs on those topics. So,
Any other input? Looks okay to you guys. Hopefully we can get one more person to come in and say we approve them, but let me know if you catch any mistakes. Let's move on and we can come back to that. So for our 8th meeting, we're going to kind of do a deep dive on artificial intelligence. It's going to be in 2 parts. The first part, we will have 3 or 4 people on Zoom where we'll have a moderated dialogue. I'll moderate the discussion among them to talk about, the goal is to have an economist, a couple of people from the tech world that are really leading the charge and seeing this more holistically, even globally. And so we'll have a moderated discussion. We'll open it up to the rest of the members for questions and dialogue. And then I've been talking with the governor's office about all the different initiatives that are happening statewide. And so a few of those representatives will come physically to the meeting and talk about what's happening. Some of them, as I was just saying, I'm introducing to one another because they say, to talk about the different efforts that are happening statewide, and then we can open it up for dialogue. Does that sound reasonable?
sounds great.
You mentioned you're working through Amy.
As one of several people, but Amy is one of them. Yeah.
Right. Are you connected with Randy?
Yes.
Sure.
Yep.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yep.
Andy's point there should be. Yeah.
And there was a woman, Vera, who's like I'm forgetting, I spoke to her yesterday afternoon. She's now like Chief Technology Officer for the state.
Okay.
And she doesn't know a lot of the people that are like Randy and Amy and others. So hopefully trying to get everyone talking to one another.
I won't be here for the board meeting, but Hav will be here, will be here in my stead, but EDD is applying as a pass-through, of course, for a grant up to $8 million. And part of it is AI infrastructure. It's a federal grant. So it was a training and employment guidance letter that came out last week or whenever it was. And we're working with UTP. We want to work with all the locals to make sure that we can distribute the money accordingly. It would be, if we do get the 8 million, it would be about 850,000 for several boards each. And part of it is the president has focused on shipbuilding, but we would probably not focus on shipbuilding and focus on either AI or advanced manufacturing or whatever it is. So that, look for more on that in the, they just sent me this thing, so I'm looking at it now, but.
Can I?
Fund 7 or 8 regions, local areas for about 850,000 per region.
Okay,
So, and the deadline is Friday, September 5th.
okay,
Yep, so just an FYI on that.
yeah, that's helpful. Great.
What are the goals specifically around framing this AI conversation?
It's to really have everyone who's on the committee understand where job displacement will come from. What will be the skill sets that are really needed in the future? How organizations are thinking about managing through that, not just the, kind of public sector, but also how the private sector is playing into that. Gemini, Anthropic, others, to now focus like 10% of CEO's time on figuring out what their role will be in the job displacement that will happen. And unlike other waves of technical innovation that maybe focus on a specific sector or specific geography, it's going to like impact even every small business. So that's where, the large companies aren't thinking about that as much. So how can we understand that and then really think about, especially as we're gathering all the data from the tour around the state, it's kind of like bottoms up from there and top down on what's happening. And let's then make sure that we're, taking the appropriate actions and planning. So we have the least amount of just
Conversation, or is that the Amy Tong piece of it? And I assume you meant Amy Tong, which is Amy. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I know that it's more state employee focused, but like I know Arena at CalHR, Nick Maduris, GovOps secretary, who took Amy Tong's place. And Jeff Marino, who's the director of ODI, they've been working on lots of AI stuff.
Okay.
And so while I appreciate, obviously, the governor's office sets a lot of the direction, they're not really in a lot of the weeds. I think that the other team is, so to speak. And again, a lot of it is, of course, for state employees, but she
Like helpful again because it's so fragmented and there's so many different this is a US-wide initiative, and it's focused on your needs, the middle school through high school students, showing them about 1,000 different career opportunities, what the, salaries are, what the skill sets are needed, and young people, answer a bunch of questions like, I don't like sitting, and, I'd rather, I like when I'm out in nature or whatever they decide they want to do, and how they can really work on that pathway with tangible steps. I think it could be really powerful.
Totally.
Here for the state, just, anyway, so she's out evangelizing it to different
Yeah, it
states.
puts a lot of that anxiety like at ease, or at least like gives it some direction
Yep.
for folks at large, because yeah, I mean, even when kind of first talked to me about like AI being subject to a meeting, I was like, oh, shit, like what are we?
Chicken.
Yeah, it's
Chicken.
like, okay, just like I talked about, like the path forward.
Yeah, this should be the action forward.
Yeah,
Yeah, not the fear.
right.
Yep. Any other comments on that or input as we're in the planning process?
I think it's great that we're doing this, so thank you for, I'm really excited to see what speakers do. It's gonna be-
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure it's a broad range of people, so we're kind of covering all the different bases. I don't know if anyone saw like Sam Altman's TED Talk. He did a Q&A at the last TED conference, and that was clearly an open AI agenda discussion. I'm trying to really stay away from that with much more objectivity, not a single company and how, can our agenda be propelled, but really how do we think about this more holistically related to workforce development and training. Yeah. So good. And any input, like if things pop up or Nancy again, like as things, just please ping me, because I want to make sure it's not just my ideas, but it's the collective of our, all our members in terms of how they're thinking about it and maybe what concerns they have.
And I think I must have missed the last meeting as well. What is happening here?
Oh,
Like what?
no, Joanna's the chair now.
Okay.
Sure. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you. That was in the last meeting. So
Okay,
sorry you weren't
I was
here,
not-
and that was all handled, and I did my intro and,
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Well, nice to have you.
yeah, thank you.
And thank you
Thanks.
for your service.
Yeah.
That's what, and I thank you for your service in absentee. I don't know if you saw it, watched the meeting, but
Oh, God.
I did thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
I did. And I think I followed up and said thank you too.
No,
by
no,
Text.
it's-
Yeah. I wanted to make sure I did.
Happy.
We had a good meeting. I think almost everyone, there were 34 in
Yes.
total, and almost everyone spoke, which was great. We really got a lot of great input from people. So it was a very good meeting. I thought, at least. I
Agreed.
didn't have a perspective of past meetings, but at least the feedback I heard from, some people reached out proactively after and said, wow, like we actually had a dialogue. So that was good.
That's great.
Yeah. So, sorry that we have.
No,
not-
that's
yeah.
all good.
But yeah, just feed stuff to me or kind of, he and I talk a lot, so, I'm open to all input. All right, anything else on AI? I think we can move on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just last week, the governor did the AI event. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So it's, good synergy with sort of some messaging. that
Yeah,
you're putting out.
And I know a lot of the execs of the 5 companies that, in fact, the CEO of NVIDIA may be one of the people who speaks to us, so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotten some
Yeah.
content there.
yeah, so. But yes, I'm well aware of that. Thanks.
Good synergy.
Awesome. Kind of was gonna update on the regional board.
I can do it.
Yeah,
Oh.
welcome to it.
Okay,
Just fine.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
We'll move over to the regional, which I'm so happy we're doing, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, I talk to him after every trip.
He's
It's
so
great.
excited every time he
Yeah.
comes back.
Yeah.
So far, we have almost all of them scheduled between now and October. There's one in January. We've done the Inland Empire, and that one went really well. And then he's also gone to the Central San Joaquin Valley region. That was the last one, and next week is the Bay Area.
Yeah.
So Miranda is sending out invitations to board members to join, to RSVP and join. The conversations have been great, already making connections between regions, lifting up very specific things from a region that we can actually take action on and go back back to the region and say, okay, we did this, what else? You
Yeah.
know, so far, great.
Fantastic.
And hope to see more board members at the visits. Again, they're calendared and I don't have it in front of me, but I can certainly provide it.
Yeah.
Are they on our calendars?
They are, Miranda sent out invitations, but I can send out the list of the dates to.
If you could send out the
Yeah.
whole list
I
to
think-
the entire committee, that would be,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she only sent it to like by region or something, because I got invited to the Inland Empire one and it was a great job, but I don't think the whole board gets invited to.
okay,
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
let's make
no, I can
sure.
definitely-
I don't need to go.
No,
I'm just
yeah,
saying.
no, yeah,
Like-
it's more out of, yeah, it's just more to be inclusive though.
Yeah,
And then at these meetings going forward, we'll kind of, I talked yesterday about doing like 2 regional updates per meeting.
Mhm.
So that if you're not able to attend, we're getting the feedback over the course of the year. So I think that will be
Yeah,
really
and they're
helpful.
just the start of that two-way communication that will be ongoing, and so we'll continuously get that feedback from the regions to this body.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions or comments about regional? No? Any public comment? I don't think we're not in the public, so we'll move on. And then the eligible training provider list, and I guess Nancy, is that you?
I'm sorry, what is that?
The eligible training provider list, ask
If there is an
like to
update.
provide an update.
Updates or no?
I don't think there's any, so I wasn't prepared for that, but I can tell you that the last time that I heard is that HAV, the Workforce Services team, did meet
Mhm.
with a lot of the locals, so I don't know what, there's no update.
There's no update.
No, I don't know what.
All right,
I have no idea.
okay.
I'll text them and see if there's some, but I doubt it.
Um,
And we did have that. I don't know if we wanted to skip.
Oh, yeah. And who is obviously kind of not here, so on the master plan
The master plan.
for career
It's
education.
usually Abby.
I mean, yeah, we're, Abby's a bit closer to that work. I know that, I'm not sure what she shared last time. I mean, probably when the plan was out, right? Yeah, right now, as far as our agencies working closely, to look at some ways in which some of the regional coordination efforts can be improved between sort of these disparate, we have like our K-16 collaboratives, we have like our jobs first regions, we have like our local boards. So working with McKinsey on assessing some of the vulnerabilities in this space, other state best practices in the area as a way to drive towards some recommendations about how we can improve coordination at the regional level.
Mhm.
That's designed to tie up to a more state level council. There's some work in the legislature right now.
What are some of the big key issues in that?
I mean, just as I think you referenced sort of connecting people in the state who are working on similar initiatives that you experienced aren't talking yet. That's, I mean, I think that's happening even more at like a regional level. And so trying to make sure that initiatives are aligned with like the regional priorities, things that were sort of identified in the master or in jobs first plans, but are enacted by, both workforce pieces, industry and educational entities that are within the area. So just trying to make sure there's more alignment there, that folks know what different folks are working on, have some shared vision about like a path forward so that their work is more cohesive. Again, that's there's some stuff going through the legislature right now around an education interagency council. I'm not sure if that will formalize or not, but
What would that be? Like, what's the thinking behind that?
Would that be, what is the thinking behind that?
in,
Tell us.
I mean, it's basically the same idea of what I've voiced at a regional level happening at the state, where
What's it called? An education?
Well, it's in the master plan, it talks about like a state coordinating committee. That, and some of the need there, because you have. You know, your different education segments, CSU, UCs, the community colleges. There's no sort of, the labor agency and the various workforce programs under Stewart's direction. You have GoBiz, which is supposed to be the government's arm to engage industry. And there's not sort of a cohesive, you know, there's no sort of governing structure around each, not that this would be a governing structure. The plan recommended this sort of entity so that,
Is it like a coordinating structure?
yeah,
Yeah.
basically. So if
This is just a bill right now? Or is
this
this,
was a recommendation in the plan.
oh, I see, okay.
It's like coming to life in
Got it,
different variations through the legislature and their infinite wisdom. Yeah, and the goal being to just like, so folks aren't working at on the same thing against each other, or can have some alignment in terms of like, if there's certain cost pressures or issues. It's really just to bring these folks together to talk about issues in their space, things that they're working on. If there's alignment with other areas, come together. The plan, there used to be a thing called CPEC that existed that sort of had this function, became pretty more of like at least through folks I've talked to, a way of kind of preventing things from happening rather than sort of like aligning things. That's why it sort of went away. The governor had the California Career Education Council that is now somewhat defunct, that had a similar vision, but had some non-governmental entities on it that sort of muted certain conversation topics in terms of like some government cohesiveness. So it's a recommendation out of the plan. In theory, some of the work from the regional council, from the regional coordination effort would work up towards that state council as well, kind of inform some direction and provide some guidance of ways that the state could work better together based on what they found at the regional level too. So more to come in that space, but
Is that being talked about in the regional tours? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
Yeah, I haven't.
I'll ask Carmen.
Had the
Yeah.
privilege of attending one. yet.
Okay.
I will add regarding the master plan, that Michael Wayafi was recently appointed to our staff. He's from the governor's office. He worked on the master plan at the governor's office, so he'll be coming on board probably mid-September.
How do you spell his last name?
WIAFE.
Okay.
And so he'll be coming on our staff to do our piece of implementation of master plan.
Okay. Great. Anything else? No.
no, I mean, I helped, Michael and I worked together in the GO in my past life on this, getting this plan out the door. And so now it's just more at the implementation phase, sort of with, and that's kind of the labor agency's current effort in the space. So.
Great. Thank you. Any questions, comments from anyone? No?
I have an update on ATPL.
Okay.
There's 2 more meetings and they have so far been able to reach consensus on new policies. So it looks like it's moving along quite well. There's 2 more meetings, so
Great.
yeah.
All right. We're really close to the end here. We're talking about. Yeah, obviously no public comment since, any public comment? Nope. Anything else? Nancy, you're here. You seem like, what's on your mind? What would you like to see? Maybe share reflections from the past since you've been around.
I don't usually come to this meeting.
You know,
Sometimes I do, actually. I try to, but, I mean, I think part of it is just like coordination with the locals. I mean, that's like EDD's issue all the time, right? It's like having all this, having these grants available and actually working with the locals and through the board or however we want to do it, to make sure that they are in line and they are aware of what the parameters are and what, like, when I say we, what the governor's office, what the board is actually looking for,
Mhm.
so like, for example, this one has multiple, industries, right? But it's like, if we're going to focus on AI, then we need to focus on AI and just tell the board, tell the locals that that's what we want to do, and I think there's been a hesitancy to like speak the truth or just say what we want to say. And I don't mean by you, I just mean generally, in government. But I think we're over that now. And I can put that in all caps and thank everyone for their attention to this matter, if that's what everybody wants, but.
yeah, no, I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I mean, that's my only comment. I mean, I think that's my only comment.
but you won't be here on the 8th.
I'll be flying back from Scotland on
Oh, wow.
it.
Well, that's nice.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I have a
Okay.
nice life. There's no question. Yeah, so, but Hob will be here and Hob
Okay.
knows way more than I do, trust me. So
Okay,
he's the Workforce Services Branch deputy. So either he or Kim will be here
and
and
what's Kim's role?
she works directly for Hob and knows about a million times more than Hob does.
Okay,
So, and Hob knows a lot. He worked at the community colleges for a long time, so he knows a lot.
great.
So it's like he and Stuart are very high level and Kim is in the weeds, on a lot of stuff.
Great.
So she's also sometimes the voice of no, which we don't like. We start with yes.
Yeah.
We start with yes, and then if we have to get to know, we get to know, but we start with yes.
I love that.
Yes, conditionally.
That was
Yeah.
Maribel Batcher that told me that.
Yeah, yeah, fantastic. Good. Angela, any other, I mean, you've been doing this for a while.
No, I'm excited about the October meeting. I think that's gonna
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of bummed that I
it's
missed
top
it,
of
but
mind
yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
There's so many different implications of it, so I think it's gonna be great, yeah.
Yeah. And, as Nancy said, we can't fear it. We've got to embrace it.
Yeah.
And just get smart and get into action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I guess I do have a question and so the onboarding packet, are we supposed to give comments on this or is this just?
It's always open to feedback.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Always open.
I actually read it, believe it or not.
Thank you.
The only question that I had was the composition of the board. Is that in statute?
It is. It's in both state and in
Okay.
federal statute.
Because there's a part of it where it, like on the page 7 where it says not specified in paragraph 1, but there really is no paragraph 1 because you're not, and so I wasn't sure if it was in statute or not. So,
Okay, I'll take a look.
yeah, it's not a stupid nitpicky.
The board's one of the wonky, this workforce board is one of the wonky state boards that like has more of a representation percentage than like actual numbers.
Yeah.
Members that's.
Yeah,
needed.
I got that from the,
Mhm.
yeah,
It's- it-
because I think I'm only here by statute. Like I'm not here because
Yeah, you're like, yeah.
I was like elected. I was not elected to this board.
Yeah. An important voice. Thank you.
Some would argue that.
Joanne, I'm curious if, and maybe you talked about this at the past meeting, the full board, but I know you're sort of new to the space, but coming like from an industry background. Anything in particular you're hearing, from industry in the workforce space that's worth, banding about?
Yeah, well, that was what brought up the whole AI
Mhm.
discussion, because it was nowhere in anything that I looked at in
Yeah.
terms of what we've been talking about. And then, trying to uncover all these different, and, the speed of acceleration of that happening. I mean, that's what I'm hearing everywhere is, past waves of technology, you could say, in 5 years, this is what we could project. Anyone who's really on running an organization, a company now, in the private sector will say, I can't project out 12 months because it's just moving that quickly. So there's a lot of things happening where companies are actually allocating time. This is not in the public sector. I'm talking just the private sector, allocating time for their employees to experiment with AI and look for efficiencies in their workflow. And it really experiment with all the tools. So saying, 20% of your time should be experimental. That did not exist when there were
no.
other waves of technology, because it's moving so incredibly quickly. And then, the other issue are boards dealing with, if employees are experimenting, what are they putting out in the public domain that could be considered proprietary?
Yeah, that was gonna be
So,
my next question, sort of like about data privacy in the private sector space.
Yes.
Like, cause I know we've, states adopting Microsoft Copilot to go along with workers' sort of work streams, and my first thought coming from EDD was all of, all the laws that they have around data, whether it's employer data or claimant data. Because it would seem to me there's a lot of value in being able to use AI to look through someone's claim info or have the base wage file in there and be able to do different polls or analyses. But, then my next thought is like, well, where's all that data going?
exactly.
So good to know that
Companies, organizations, everyone has to set guardrails in terms of, and make sure that that's well understood in the same way that it happens in cybersecurity. And companies have to be proactive in cybersecurity. The CISO will send out phishing, emails to employees internally to make sure that they're following protocol. So, because it's usually an employee issue, same thing with the data privacy. So, and this is where there's a lot of initiatives to really talk about what's happening with board composition. There are 5,600 public companies in the US, of which half have about 100 million or more in revenue. There's over 17,000 private companies with revenue of 100 million or more that have very little diversity on their board, diversity of perspective, background, expertise. They tend to be made up of investors or insiders. And if we look at even what happened with social media, and I brought this up in the last big meeting, but I knew people on the board of those companies who wouldn't let their kids use the product. But nobody was saying, hey, wait, what's the impact on society here? How's this going to impact future generations? So a real effort on making sure that we bring different voices into these private company boards, because it starts from the top. I mean, the board sets the agenda. The board's the one who's setting all the guardrails around, data privacy, data security. And if they're not asking the right questions, we're going to be in a world of hurt.
interesting.
So that's a lot of what I'm hearing. And I would say in the tech space in particular, but also in, whether you consider an Amazon warehouse the tech space, a lot of, very few new jobs, in certain areas being hired, where you're seeing, venture-backed companies are raising hundreds of millions of dollars, have one HR person, one finance person, because they're doing everything else through AI. Yeah. So that's, so how are we proactively planning for that? And how can we harness those companies? We can't do it alone. We need to harness the expertise of those companies to help in the solution. And so this is back to the initiative of saying, come together and help us think about how we don't suffer all of that displacement. And then where are the opportunity areas? I've even heard companies say, they would hire a product manager, a designer, and an engineer to create something. So product manager getting the input on the design of the product, the designer actually doing the design, and the engineer actually writing code. Now, all those jobs can be supplemented by AI. So rather than saying, allocating it by function, they're saying, here's our repository of all the things we need to accomplish, and anyone can kind of jump in and do it, because now the designer through AI can get the code and get the input on product management. And the same thing with the others. That's a massive, massive change in how companies are even structured. So.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting, but it is the most dynamic wave of technical innovation we've seen. And Nancy was saying, don't embrace fear, but we don't know where it's going. So we have to
Mhm.
quickly get engaged and involved and understand it, because it could go off the rails if we're not smart about it.
I think that's part of the problem, is that we don't talk about it. We just get afraid of it, and
Yeah.
we don't do the talking, which is what we need to do. I actually liked I really liked what you said about some of the companies that give the employees like 20% of their like time to do like a free for all basically and just experiment, because God help us, we would never do that in state government, but we should. Like that's like, God, I wish we could do all this. This is a really exciting conversation. I'm glad that we're talking about this stuff. And I mean, private sector, I get it, but I mean, hopefully, we're always behind in the public sector, but that is sort of what it is, built into the system, I guess. But
and maybe it's not 20%. Maybe if the guardrails are set, it
whatever
could
it
be
is,
5% or,
right.
experiment
Whatever
a
it
little
is,
bit and
yeah.
you're rewarded for experimenting.
a little bit, because there are so many things that the employees would like AI to do.
Mhm.
And we just, they're just so petrified, and they is the, whoever, the world, but people are afraid of, oh my God, the union is like, no, the union understands, like, or what, and there are some unions, I get it, that are not as amenable, like maybe SEIU is or whatever, but anyway, it makes so much sense that we're talking about this, and we're already late to the game by about 10 years, but okay, what I mean? It's like, here we are. So
It's no
cool.
time like the present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
The
cool.
part that excites me, I mean, if we want to talk about the positive side of AI, when you think about the economic disparity, so if you live in Palo Alto and your kid is in school, you can afford tutors and, SAT prep and all of that to, get a kid on a path to a brighter future. Or if you need medical assistance, like you can get access to Stanford Hospital if you're more, and then you're in East Palo Alto, you don't have that. Well, through AI, like every kid's going to be able to get access to like the best tutors and the best resources. And I mean, people will be able to have 24/7 doctor in their pocket. And so when you think about the
Right.
leveling out of and the upgrading of kind of the lower part of society in terms of getting on equal footing with people who have more resources and more access, to me, that's incredibly exciting. Incredibly exciting. And, obviously there's things you have to make sure, they have a smartphone, but a lot of people, even in, disadvantaged communities have smartphones. And so to me, that's where we have to look at that positive side of it and really understand that we could transform communities who are kind of stuck back because they don't have the resource, and now they will through these new platforms.
Yeah. Identifying those opportunity areas is going to be key.
Mhm.
Yep.
Driving folks there who experience that displacement, because that's, we need to have a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. And how can the K-12 education system help in that,
Exactly.
especially in, Title I schools? And yeah.
It's done.
Hi, how are you?
Time you show up.
I know, right?
We're done.
You're done, you're all, it's just chit
You,
chatting?
you literally came right at the end.
We can go back. Were you here in May for the meeting?
I was your first one, the last one?
No, the
Last
one
exec.
with the last exec.
We're
Oh,
gonna,
I was,
For
yeah.
the minutes.
He did.
Oh, good. Did you have a chance to look at the meeting?
We're still one short.
One short, I think.
Unfortunately.
Oh, we are.
Yeah.
I know.
Can we do this by email? Do we have to wait? Just ask.
To approve the.
Yes.
minutes, we have.
We have to wait.
we can just do it at the next
I'll be
meeting.
here.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. We were talking about positive and, well, a lot of, what would come, the impact of AI holistically,
Sure,
yeah,
good. It's
even
conversation.
down into K-12 and, yeah,
Okay.
so.
Are you from California?
I have lived in California for 32 years,
So
so
you're not from
I
California.
am not from
That's what I heard.
California. Yeah.
Where are you from?
I'm from New Jersey. And then I spent 10 years in Manhattan before I moved here. And now I'm
Nice.
here for 32 years.
I could feel a little East
I was
Coast.
gonna say, I got the East Coasters
Yeah.
eyeballing each
I was
other.
like, oh yeah, she's probably from Boston, but no, New Jersey. Same.
New Jersey. a good state.
Yeah.
A great state.
Okay.
Yeah, but I moved here with a 4-year-old and a 10-day-old baby
Oh, my.
2 years ago, because I thought it was the innovation capital of the world, and I thought no time like the present to get out there and be part of it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
people said, "You're nuts," and I said, "No, that's where I want to be. I want to
Yeah,
my family." So 4 kids and 3 grandkids later,
Nice.
we're here.
You've ascended to the chairmanship of this board.
Yeah.
You finally reached.
That is
Pinnacle of-
pinnacle of life. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, with a very, well, Nancy, you probably don't know my background at all, but I, obviously from the East Coast, in university, I was a science major, thought I was going to medical school, and then I went to Duke undergrad and worked at Duke Hospital and thought, this is my office. I'd go home and cry because people were really sick.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, I'll go to New York for a year, and went into advertising, making a whopping $12,000 a year, living in Manhattan, which was definitely a challenge. And I ended up getting promoted. I went to the client side. I worked in consumer products for a French company, Danone, but we had lots of brands in the US. And I was very fortunate in the 80s. I grew the business that I was in charge of from 250 million to over $1 billion in revenue.
Awesome.
So it was a great run. I was the only one on my team who didn't have an MBA. So I went back to Columbia in New York because I was living there. I did my MBA in a year and 4 months with a newborn baby at the time. She was now
Impressive.
7 years old. And it was from there that I decided, you know what, time to go to California and really be a part of it. So I came out, I worked in investment banking, doing M&A and private placements, because I thought, oh, I'll go into venture capital. And I went and met with every venture capital firm, and I didn't realize that I was the wrong gender.
Yeah.
I naively thought, well, I have this great background. Why wouldn't you want to hire me? So I decided to go and create my own firm, which I did in the late 90s. Yeah. And as a sole general partner back in the 90s, I raised $25 million, which everyone said was impossible. And then I brought a team together. My next fund, I got 400 million in commitments. I didn't know what to do with that kind of money, so I took half, and then went on a series of doing venture funds. I got very involved in the policy side of the industry. I joined the National Venture Capital Association board, which was really we were essentially just trying to educate policymakers about the importance of entrepreneurship and innovation to drive the U.S. economy, which was very challenging.